What if I told you that the only way to get that ultimate pipe dream, a confidence that lasts, is not to focus on confidence at all? The only way to get that feeling of inner certainty is actually to focus instead on your competence or your ability to get things done. Now, I've got 3 quick and practical ways to build your skills, which will ultimately give you the confidence that you really want. Now, before we get started, subscribe to our channel to get tips for career success that actually work. And hit that notification bell so that you know each time we release one of our weekly videos. I'm Dr. Suzanne Doyle-Morris, founder of Inclusive, and I've been working with women, largely in male-dominated fields, for the last 15 years. And I've poured that and interviews I've done with senior leaders into my 3rd book, which is all about the workplace battle between competence and confidence. Now, all of the people that I've worked with, either in my coaching practice or those I interviewed, are people who, if you saw them in action, well, you doubt that confidence had ever been an issue for them. But the only way they got there was by focusing on their competence, particularly when it comes to handling other people. So let's redefine confidence. Now, when people think about confidence, they often focus on what it looks like. Speaking up in meetings, or making bold decisions without a care in the world, or not caring what other people think at all. Now, superficially, some of that sounds glam, but it also sounds like some of our most untrustworthy leaders, and maybe even somewhat like the people in your office that you cannot stand. I have yet to actually meet a professional who thinks people with those qualities would be a great hire or a wonderful fit for the team. Instead, the best way to move past those very specific behaviors that are actually not that helpful is to define confidence much more widely based on your own values. Confidence should actually include self-awareness, a sense of authenticity between yourself at home and yourself at work, and the willingness to challenge the status quo. To exhibit any of those 3 behaviors at the office actually does take confidence, but it's not things we talk about frequently. Owning these types of confidence traits is far more productive, actually, than simply being great at talking to a big audience. It is really odd that so many of us define confidence as this ability to hold an audience when so much more goes into actually being confident. Giving presentations or speaking up in contentious meetings is just one tiny aspect of being confident. And as we all know from listening to someone who weighs in very happily but doesn't know all the facts, it doesn't even require that much expertise. So, on that, it's over to you now for that first element of confidence. Take 2 minutes now and write down all the behaviors that you see confident people do. Now remember, we're focusing just on what is observable because you never actually know how someone feels inside. So these behaviors, though, they may range from some of the more positive behaviors like actively speaking and participating in meetings or leading in presentations to potentially negative behaviors of confidence like unnecessary risk-taking or speaking over others or even disregarding feedback, that old, I don't care what anyone else thinks. That actually sounds glamorous, but it isn't ultimately good for teams. And as you look at your list, your pros and your cons, you may be surprised at how many of the behaviors you listed are actually fairly negative. Plus, you may be surprised at how many of the behaviors on the positive side are actually completely trainable and just require you getting more exposure and experience handling those types of challenges. So that's totally doable. Second, the second thing to do is to ask other people about their perceived gaps in your knowledge, your expertise, or your competence. Now, people who know you may offer a few observations, but they may also highlight things that you didn't even expect. I ran a workshop with 20 STEM leaders a few years ago, and getting that type of feedback from others was vital. It helped give the participants the ability to realize how much their lack of confidence was just in their head, and it was not something that anyone else even noticed. Either way, feedback is vital because the truth is we all get hired fired, or promoted based on not how great we think we are, but what on other people think about us. One of the STEM leaders I interviewed said that his biggest concern wasn't the people on his team who were underconfident. It was those who had too much confidence. He talked about the costly mistakes they made, how they didn't keep up to date with their field, probably because they felt they knew it all. And they were also quick to blame others when things invariably went a bit pear-shaped, as they could do. For him, those were far bigger problems than people not having enough confidence. So go out and get that feedback. Have conversations, not just with your boss, but also your peers, any direct reports, and even clients about the additional skills that they'd like you to have. I can pretty much guarantee having more confidence isn't likely to be one of their criticisms. So in the comment section below, what do you think is the bigger problem at your workplace? Under or over confidence? So the third thing that you need to do is to ensure that you talk about your experience with everyone that you think might doubt you at times or whom you need more credibility. Now that doesn't mean that you approach life like a walking CV, but when people expect confidence, what they're really seeking usually is an evidence base of your ability. So, where necessary, before giving your opinion confidently, which may at times feel a bit fake anyway, just point out experiences you've had that have led you to that educated opinion so that they know it's coming from a base of hard-earned experience. So say things like, well, based on 3 other projects that I did around this size, I'd say X. Or the last time I talked with some of our senior leaders on this issue, they felt Y. Or this topic, that's an interesting one. It comes up routinely in the discussions I had when I'm doing my qualification on Z. You're not saying, look at me, world, I'm the smartest person ever, which actually isn't true for any of us. And anyone who tells you they know it all, well, they're the person that you really should be worrying about because they're either lying and self-deluded or they are woefully ignorant around the complexity of most topics. In any case, neither is somebody you want to be rewarding with the label of confidence. The confidence versus competence conundrum is one that I, as you can tell by now, am extremely passionate about. My mission is to figure out why our definition of confidence has been broken and how we should be defining it for the modern workplace. It is totally time to rip up the rulebook for confidence as we view it historically and get people instead to value your competence, your ability to get stuff done. And if these tips at the very least helped you think differently about confidence, then please like this video, share it with others, only the highly competent people please, or subscribe to our channel and help us in our mission to rip up the rulebook of confidence as it is now. Now, I've dedicated a whole playlist to confidence versus competence, so check it out. And if there's anything else that you'd love to see on this channel, please comment below, because I really hope that you'll join me in our mission to redefine confidence. Please come back and let me know how you get on in your own workplace battle between competence and confidence.